I found myself creating a good number of videos today. Whatever's in the air seems to be ripe for sitting here sharing with you all in this space. I've been working with videos for YouTube, videos for our just special We Are the Forest community, a space that you are also very welcome to, a space to step into, really dive deeper into embodied practices around the sorts of things that we talk about here. I do love to share little bits of that in these videos, and we will be doing a little bit of that today, a little bit of conversation, a little bit of embodied practice. Once more, just there's that invitation there if you want to dive deeper into practice and some more conversation. That space is so there. Just, yeah, a heartfelt welcome if you feel called to step into that space. Of course, links will be available in the comments. As for today, I felt really called to step in here and make one more video today because as I've been talking and practicing, teaching yoga, doing all these things, there's been this deep undercurrent of this need to stay grounded. Now, there's a lot out there in the world today that is creating the particular feelings around just getting taken away, getting pulled into different avenues, whether that's fueled by grief, fueled by rage. I'm not going to go into what those specifically are today. They're things that may be relevant in your life, maybe not. For people listening in the future, I want this to be really just supportive of what's going on for you in the world, in your life right now. Can really getting into this theme that is grounding into the right here, right now. You're going to see me on a blanket here today because it really is just this need to be as close to the ground as I can, to not get caught up, to not get taken away down these different, whatever languaging here, different feelings, different emotions, different energies, different ideas. It's all these things in this world that have a great tendency to show up in our lives and take us out of the life that we could be living. And I'm making another video on this topic here and now because to me it's an issue, a deep, deep problem that is the root of so much in our world right now, right? This tendency for everything out there, social media, our phones, the news, our neighbors, our family, work, whatever it is, continuously working very well to take our attention, to sweep us away. And there's certainly moments where it is incredibly important to give our attention to those things. But there's an art to it that is really asking to be embodied in this world right now. An art that begins with grounding into what is right here, right now. grounding into our bodies, grounding into what is alive here in our bodies. And with this, grounding through our bodies into literally the ground, right? This is where this term comes from. So, an invitation here, right? An invitation to join in this little practice that's doing just this. So, if you're seated like me, finding your sits bones, finding your seat, feeling into your seat. If your feet are on the floor, maybe you're standing or seated with your feet on the floor, feeling into the soles of your feet. Feeling purely into those sensations right now. The sensation in your seat, in your feet, whatever is connecting you to the floor. I'm going to give us a little bit more time to really just simply be here. All of your attention. Maybe you feel yourself starting to connect, and then maybe you notice your brain, your awareness going down a different avenue. Maybe you notice thoughts coming in, you start to get carried away by them. Bringing yourself back to this space, your seat or your feet, whatever is connecting you to the floor. And be quiet here for a minute. Really let us be with that practice. In this space, maybe it's happened yet, maybe it's happened already. If it hasn't happened yet, starting to drop your attention a little bit deeper, starting to more fully feel into that connection with the ground. Feeling into your seat, feeling into your feet, but really starting to feel into that connection with the ground that is here holding you. And from here, let's go one step deeper, keeping with this direction, starting to sink a little bit deeper down into the ground beneath you. Maybe you're in a room like I am. I'm up in the second story. Just really dropping down into the earth that's holding whatever space you're in. Dropping down. So your whole awareness down in that space, down in the earth that is holding you here. Starting to maybe lighten up that awareness, lightening up that connection, maybe bringing your attention to your body, to your breath for a moment. Going to return up here to a conversational space, just a moment to return to this space. We are still here, grounded, connected, supported to the earth below us. And now we get to be back up in this space for a little bit more conversation. I Now, I wanted to tell a story today. It's one with a lot of different rabbit holes we could go down, and I'm sure we'll be going down them in the future. Really staying simple and focused on this grounding theme. There's this time back in 2020, 2021, those pandemic times where everything was really up in the air. Everything was chaos. I found that a lot of the activities that I loved, rock climbing, to name one, really no longer served me. And, prior to that time, there were many reasons why I really loved this sport. But when it came into this really turbulent, chaotic, sort of up in the air kind of time, I found that I couldn't do it anymore. And what I found really, truly served me in the highest way possible was trail running or hiking, simply being with my feet out on the earth. And while my head was up here doing all these different things, trying to figure out the best way to heal, the best way to solve problems, all that chatter, all that noise that goes on upstairs, while I was just out there doing my thing, running on the trails, I found that I received all that I really needed. I received the healing. I received the answers. And I did so in a way that was so much simpler than what was going on in my head, than what I thought I needed. And it was, again, really getting to this very focused concept that is grounding. My feet on the ground, on the earth, one step after the next. Being held, allowing myself to be held, to be supported by the ground. Now, over time, things have settled and I've been able to find my grounding in many different ways. I've cultivated practices such as the one, the very simple one that I showed you here today, that I've really been able to create this strong sense of grounding wherever I go. So whether it's out rock climbing again these days, or a charged situation, or walking into the room and the news is on, or whatever is coming through on social media, and I start to feel into that sensation that's getting taken away, that's getting swept away, that's getting taken out of my embodied experience, away from my presence in the moment here right now. It's this coming back to my connection, feet on the ground, sitting down, seat on the ground, placing my hands on the ground. And you can do it wherever you are. You can do it if you're in a room, although I will say the most powerful way to do it, if you want to do this in the most efficient, most powerful way, is to get outside. Shoes off, feet on the earth, hands down on the earth. Truly grounding yourself. And from here, there's so many more practices that we could bring in to play with this idea. I've found that oftentimes what people say is a grounding practice, maybe for you in a certain situation isn't truly grounding. I have found this with my breath. Practices that, are explained as a grounding breath practice, I found have been activating, right? The opposite effect of what we want. Now, we're not going to go too deep into that right now. If that's something you are interested in, maybe reach out to me and we can set up a time to talk and talk about it, Just this idea around, yes, there are practices that overall tend to be more grounding, but we're all different with our own set of experiences, our own coding, and what supports each of us is gonna, that may look different, and that's perfectly okay. The goal isn't to be able to do all these practices in the best way. The goal is to find practices that really support our needs in each moment, knowing that that's going to change over time, knowing that practices that are supporting you right now are going to look different 6 months from now, 6 years from now. Yeah, let's wrap up today by grounding in once more. I'm gonna be a lot more quiet this time around. I'm gonna leave more space to, to bring in more of an ask, more of an internal, intuitive, how do you ground yourself? Do you go back to the exact same practice that I walked you through before? Maybe you go directly to laying down on the ground. Maybe you want your head down into the ground. Maybe you want to be on your back. Just some different things to try out. What's really, truly grounding for you in this moment. And I'm going to stop this video, leave you in this space, knowing you can stay here as long as you need. And when you're ready, coming back up into your body, maybe finding your breath, a little bit of movement. From there, moving out into the world, more grounded, more centered, perhaps with a little bit more focus, a little bit more clarity. Yes, I'm going to leave us here.